Oh, hi there. Welcome back to another video. Today we're carrying on the Keffles story. I don't think this is going to die down for a long time, but I don't think a lot of people know about this massive, big, long Twitter thread. Twitter thread. I kind of wanted to read it over and stuff like that so we can go and check out what's been kind of compiled, everything about Keffles and stuff like that. So let's just jump straight into it. If you're new, please subscribe to the channel. That would be absolute like a banger. Thank you very much. This is the Starvoxia. I hope I said their name right, and let's kind of like jump into it. So first of all, it says it's time to talk about the Keffles GoFundMe situation. Below, I will prove Keffles misled donors and spent 100k dishonestly. Her legal case with the Human Rights Tribunal of Ontario is dead, and Keffles has been lying about its status to avoid questions related to the money. Then we have the kind of thing that was put into Mudahar's video, and it basically says, Clara feels really bad watching the GoFundMe deplete. The rest will cover a year of rent and my psych fees if I talk to a psychologist once a week for the next 11 months. Ellen tried to comfort me, reminding me it was an emergency fund. This person goes, Ellen's right, but I definitely understand that feeling. Whatever, whenever I've had a windfall that I wasn't originally planning on having, I still felt bad when it was depleted. Clara responds with, I keep trying to think of how it depleted so fast, and it's just so many little things, travel and replacing furniture and helping my friends out and buying some new streaming gear and clothes. Clara then says, anyone ever finds out how I spent the GoFundMe, I am definitely getting cancelled, lol. Anyway, sorry for venting, I'm gonna go now. I'm still heading to Dingle, lol. And then that's it. Now, obviously, the money's gone on quite a lot of things, which we have heard in the, obviously, Mudahar's video. So I'm guessing a lot of that sort of stuff went on things that wasn't meant to, like here, the streaming gear and the clothes and the helping my friends out. So I think a lot of money kind of went there. So it says, I have been investigating Keffles GoFundMe for a long time now, and a few pieces of evidence are public knowledge. I can share what I found. TLDR, the above screenshot is real, and legal case the GoFundMe was supposed to go towards likely isn't happening. Strap in, this is a doozy. First, what exactly did she say she would spend the GoFundMe on? According to the GoFundMe description, 20k for recouping losses, moving to a safe location, the remaining 80k for a legal fund. It's important to take this at face value since it's what she's saying directly to people donating. And obviously it's all highlighted here. If the goal is met, I will have raised enough to recoup my losses and move immediately to a safe location. If the goal is exceeded, funds will be allocated to a legal fund to protect myself against ongoing future and threats to my safety. But you can see right here that the update has kind of like massively changed. On Twitter, Keffles has been less clear about how the money was allocated, but here is one figure I want to call attention to. This shortly after the GoFundMe launch, and she receives a lower estimate of 60k for a trial that most of the GoFundMe is going towards legal fees. As you can see, it's all pretty much here, as you can see. But I don't know. When I hear this sort of stuff, like I could have died, I got doxxed and fascists weaponized the police to come murder me, and the story's changed multiple times. I just don't believe anything that she says. She also reiterates that the non-legal portion of the fund is going towards moving and recouping her losses. But in my investigations, I found that she had no concrete losses to recoup. Keffles was swatted on August 5th. She later said that all her devices were returned 3 days later. And when I heard about this for the very first time, I was a bit kind of like, why are you wanting losses? Like, you could have planned more content and you could have waited. It just feels like she just wanted brand new equipment, so the old stuff could just be binned or could be used for something else. But yeah, it just doesn't make sense. But let's play this video.
I eventually got my stuff back in like 3 days and got an apology from the chief of police.
That's nice.
So yeah, that was really nice. Not nice how they responded to the situation, but I'll take it.
This is corroborated by the property bag shown in a CBC story about Keffles swatting, the label of which clearly shows that Keffles' desktop tower was returned to her on the 8th of August, which was before the Keffles launched her GoFundMe on August 9th, which again, there you go. There is the property bag. Additionally, a former editor of Keffles shared with me a copy of Keffles financials from May 2022. In it, we clearly see that in August of 2022, Keffles earned over 13k, which is actually higher than the surrounding months. Now, I'm not going to show this just in case. If you want to go have a look, then it is definitely on the Twitter thread so you can see it. My kind of like theory on this is because of everything that happened, people wanted to donate to make sure that she was okay, that she had enough, and literally that was the only reason why. And that to me kind of shows that she kind of played this, so she got extra money on top of extra money. But if all the others are quite low, but if you want to go check it out, it's definitely on the actual Twitter thread. To reiterate, Keffles did not have any losses to recuperate. She wouldn't see a decline in revenue until 03/2023 after she went to rehab. Keffles also very likely didn't use the 20k to relocate to Ireland and instead paid at least a significant portion out of pocket. By 9/4/22, Keffles was established enough in Ireland for publications to write about it. Next day, she would have an infamous convo with Winter, where, when she was asked if she used the GoFundMe money for a PI, strongly implied that she hadn't spent any of it yet. Keffles, Winter, I don't know how much money you think I make, but I was going to make 6 figures this year before the GoFundMe happened. Winter, that wasn't the question. Quit flexing on minorities, Whitey. Keffles, I didn't mean to. I'm sorry, you brought up money for some reason. Winter, did you pay the PI out of the GoFundMe money? No, the GoFundMe is currently in my savings until I need to use it. So why, I thought like with GoFundMes and stuff like that, a lot of the time the money would be stored on the website. So I don't know if you can just like take it out whenever it reaches a set amount. So you kind of think that you'd leave it in the GoFundMe to kind of sit there until you actually need it rather than move it to your savings. In this exchange, you can see how she could afford this. She was on the track to make 6 figures in 2022, which is corroborated by her finances from earlier. This also adds context that up to this point, she never mentioned. She's fucking rich, or at least she was at the time. This adds to the gravity of the situation, given that trans people are forced to beg for scraps online, so an already wealthy woman using a GoFundMe for an important cause, instead using it to double her income, isn't just evil, it's an insult to every trans person struggling to survive. Just before I get away from myself, here's the link to the original exchange with Winter, which shows it occurred on September 5th. Hate the Twitter counter thread. If you want to go watch this, there is some kind of like language used in there which I don't agree with, so if you want to go check it out, it will literally be in this thread and it's archived. Anyways, while it seems that Keffles didn't need the GoFundMe to get to Ireland, she wouldn't settle down until October. This brings us to the screenshot taken by the former editor of Keffles on the 30th of the 11th 2022, where Keffles says all the GoFundMe money had either been spent or earmarked, which then kind of shows the same thing that we've seen with the Moodhar video, and that is at the very top. Keffles, in just 4 months, potentially just 2 months if it really hadn't been touched by September, blew through $100,000 on traveling, not moving, furniture, friends, new stream gear that she did not need after she got her devices back after 3 days, and clothes. The rest of the year of rent and therapy, neither of which was outlined by the GoFundMe. I can even tell you how much she spent on rent. She would later tweet on her private that her rent during this time was $2,400 a month, which is 28.8k she had allocated. Like, the rent is fucking stupid. And then you can see this lovely image. I love living in Ireland so much. Can barely understand what people are saying, but it's so pretty, and my rent has gone from $2,400 a month to $400. So I am building some savings. I am saving up to buy a house, which is not a sentence I ever previously stated because it was not that possible. And that is because you took someone else's money, Keffles. That's the reason why. And for clarity, yes, she says rent in Ireland is $400 a month, but she would not move to Ireland until June 2023 when a visa was approved. Before then, she was living in Canada, which is when she allocated a year of rent at 2.4k. Got it? Got it. My visa has just been approved. I'm moving to Ireland this month, says Keffles. I thought you were coming to Belfast, some guy says. I said Northern Ireland last time, and Republicans got mad at me, so I used the Republican flag this time, so loyalists get mad at me. I'm just keeping things on equal footing. It just seems like everyone has to own everyone. You know, it's like, you mad? Ha, I'm going to make you madder. You mad over there? Going to make you even madder. You've all got to be equally mad. Remember, she said and reiterated that most of the GoFundMe money would go towards a legal case. That a civil case, which still has not happened, would cost a minimum of 60k for 3 days. And yet, by the end of 2022, the money she said was for the legal fund was gone or allocated elsewhere. This means that none of the 100k went to any of what she said it did. Which brings us to the second point. Her legal case was with the HRTO that isn't going anywhere. Buckle up, fuckers, because we're only halfway done. As I follow the progression of Keffles' legal case, her public and private plans constantly shifted and often didn't align. As a result, nailing down a robust timeline of what she was saying publicly and privately regarding her legal case provided convoluted and unhelpful. So I will give her the benefit of the doubt and assume her most recent plans, a complaint filed with the Human Rights Tribunal of Ontario, I hope I got that right, on April 10th, 2023. Remember that date because it's important, are consistent with her internal GoFundMe for legal cases. And then we have a screenshot from the video, which if you want to go check, you can do there. And let's have a look at the pictures. So basically it has highlighted date to April 10th, 2023. And obviously Keffles is going through everything with like the documents which have been kind of shown before. The video wasn't uploaded until May, but various press outlets announced around the April 21st using a press kit Keffles put together. Almost all of them included a clause like saying there was no information as when to the claim would be heard. You can see right here that it's highlighted. It says no information is available concerning when the claim will be heard. A London police spokesman declined to comment on the complaint. Thankfully, the process for filing a claim is made publicly available. Once the HRTO receives an application, the applicant receives a letter either informing them the app needs to work or it's good and has been sent to the other party, i.e. the London police. And when we click on the image, and as you can see on screen right now, you'll be able to kind of go through it and read it for yourself. So pause, but let's continue. After some back and forth, the parties convene before the HRTO to mandate and try to reach a settlement. Failure to do that will then lead to the hearing. You may think that this process has an open-ended time frame, so it would be expected we haven't heard anything, but that is wrong. Pause to read this at your own will, and then, yeah, let's continue. Unfortunately for Keffles, the HRTO sets a deadline of 1 year after the internal filing of a hearing should once occur. Keffles' application was filed on April 10th, 2023. The deadline for the hearing was a month ago. Obviously, this was posted on May 12th. So yeah, there is no evidence of the hearing. How long does the tribunal process take? The goal of the Human Rights Tribunal of Ontario is holding a hearing within 1 year of the application being filed. Many applicants are resolved earlier through negotiations between the parties or the tribunal's mediation process. We haven't heard anything about the mediation. I said it wrong previously. We haven't got any confirmation that her application was accepted. We haven't even heard about the letter she was supposed to receive right away. And all these things are long past due. I will now catalogue everything that we have heard. The next we would hear about the HRTO case was in October 2023, when the London police concluded an investigation into the sexual assault allegation Keffles made in her application, and notably the London police were made aware of the allegation through the media, not the HRTO, and the highlighted text says, London police learned that the sexual assault allegation from media report on April the 23rd. Is that the 23rd of April or 2023? Either way, it's been noted there. So let's kind of quickly read over this one. Serenity 29 launched an human rights complaint against London police in the spring, seeking $125,000 in damages for the injury of her dignity, loss of income, and special damages. In the claim, Serenity alleged a female officer pressed her hand against her breast during her arrest and said, "Yep, it's a she." Now that's kind of interesting because I thought it was a male officer that did it, not a female one. London police learned about the sexual assault allegation from a media report on April 23rd and notified the police's watchdog, the Special Investigations Unit (SIU). According to the report, duty chief Paul Baston will present Thursday. SIU Director Joseph Monteiro, I think that's it, notified London police on August 22 that there were no reasonable grounds to proceed with a criminal charge and the case was closed. The London Police Professional Standards Branch launched an internal probe into the conduct of the officer along with the related policies and services, the report says. The investigation itself is irrelevant. Personally, I've always skeptical of the internal police investigations anyway. What's relevant is when the reporting on the investigations and the London's Free Press reached out to Keffles' lawyer for comment and got this. Lawyer Justin, who is representing Serenity in the human rights case, declined to comment on the Eternal London Police and the SUI investigations. We are unable to comment other than to say that we will continue to be seeking justice before the Ontario Human Rights Tribunal said in a statement. When given a perfect opportunity to update the public on the proceedings of the case, her lawyers gave us no indication the case had progressed at all, not even so much as a confirmation that the application was accepted, despite the fact it definitely should have been by now. The next time she talked about it would be February the 5th, 2024, where she said this. While this may seem like the case has progressed, take note of the two things. One, she claims the process could take a minimum of 2 years. However, we know this isn't true. Number two is she's being vague. This was obviously a tweet with Willie Mack kind of going sick. So how's the lawsuit going? Any updates? And that was definitely on the 5th of the 2nd, 2024. It says, papers have been processed and we are now awaiting dates to appear in the tribunal. I'm told this could take a minimum of 2 years at best and 6 years at worst, depending on how it gets escalated to a higher judicial body. The reason why I ultimately decided to go through the Human Rights Tribunal rather than a lawsuit. She hasn't said the HRTO accepted her application. For example, merely that papers have been processed. Even more suspiciously, she deleted this tweet within 7 minutes of posting it. Please excuse my chicken scratch math with screenshots to prove this. So basically we just kind of go in there. There's a 7-minute difference from when Willie's posted it. And then basically she deletes this main post, which is like papers have been processed, blah, blah, blah. And it says the reply from 7 minutes later shows that the tweet was deleted already. So someone said, Simp Man, it's Simp Man. Don't worry, not sure why it was deleted, but we'll make sure I repost it here. And then they just basically put it back in there. Done within 7 minutes. Like everything is right there. So it has been saved. If this wasn't done properly, I'm guessing like this would have been completely and utterly deleted and no one would really know. My best guess, someone told her it was a bad idea to publicly lie about this, which brings us to the third time she talked about it. Oh wait, that's the last she ever said of it, at least the last time I managed to catch. Remember, the deadline for a hearing was a month ago. Also remember, by now, she has already long since spent the money allocated for a legal case, and her financials and frequent absences from streaming since going into rehab make it extremely unlikely she can afford to pay out the case out of pocket anymore. Altogether, the evidence strongly indicates that her case was the HRTO died a long time ago, and yet she is continuing stringing everyone along, clearly aware she was at risk of. This is unacceptable. To reiterate, Keffles lied about spending 20k on moving and recouping costs. Keffel lied about putting the remaining 80k into a legal fund, and Keffles is lying about the status of the case to this very day to keep people from asking questions about what she did with the money. So what can we do? First, since Keffles is clearly uninterested in transparency, we must take actions ourselves. Next, if you unfortunately are one of the people defrauded by Keffles, you should submit a donor claim here. Lastly, you can retweet this thread to raise awareness and hopefully demand financial transparency from Keffles, which we know is not going to happen. To conclude, I would like to address Keffles herself. Clara, people trusted you. For years, you said you were fighting for young trans people, for the freedom of your people, and all of it while you were lying to their faces for money that benefited only you. Do the right thing. Now, kind of looking over this video is quite long, and please excuse my reading skills. But when I kind of think about all of this, and the fact is that she wanted to fight for the trans youth, she only benefited, in my eyes when seeing this, to herself. She wanted all that money. There is a clip that I remember hearing when she went against Nick Diorio, and she was like, hey, Nick, like, you know, if you don't have 100k, just say that you're a broke bitch or something like that, or say you're broke or whatever. And I just feel like Keffles wanted this money, stick it into her account, kind of keep it there for what she needed to buy all of this stuff. And I think what happens is when you have the temptation of a lot of money that is right there, you kind of want to buy everything. Oh, I'll quickly dip in to buy this. Oh, I need that even though I may not need it. She didn't need to go on that massive holiday just to then come back. She knew she was going to be a target because online doesn't stop when you leave a certain country where people are like, where the hell has she gone? Like, it's going to carry on no matter what happens. And I feel like she wanted to kind of just take all that money and just kind of like get a name so people would remember her, so people would keep talking, and then she would just kind of elevate herself up to a whole new level of people would go straight to her for trans rights. People would go to her if people needed it. Yet she helped promote selling HRT to minors. She has fucked all of this up for herself. And now when she says, I'm completely done with drama and stuff, which means she won't come back for a while, but I think she will come back so she can dunk on people. But this will now hang over her head completely. And to be fair, the only thing to kind of like stop majority of this is just show where all the financial information is, where the money's been spent, what is left, you know, how all this is done, rather than be like, oh, I don't need to tell you anything because I don't think I need to tell you anything, or I don't owe you anything. You don't owe most of the public people about this, but you owe the people who donated money to you that you've kind of like fucked over. Anyway, that's my kind of thoughts on this. What are your thoughts? Let me know down below in the comments. Thank you very much for listening and watching. I'll catch you in the next video.